13, Grant, Derbyshire. Number 21, Walker, Orne. Arriving junior from Camden, New Jersey, number 25, Kareem Watkins. A 6'6" senior from Mount Sterling, Kentucky, number 14, Brennan, Canada. A 6'6" freshman from Livingston, Pennsylvania, number 3, Thiero. A 6'11" freshman from Ware, State, Nigeria, number 33, Onyenso. A 6'4" freshman from Dallas, Texas, number 22, Wallace. A 6'6" freshman from Akron, Ohio, number 24, Livingston. A 6'9" sophomore from Atlanta, Texas, number 4, Collins. Junior from Camden, New Jersey, number 55, Ware. A 6'3" redshirt senior from Cincinnati, Ohio, number 1, Frederick. A 6'5" senior from Chicago, Illinois, number 12, Reeves. A 6'9" senior from Brooklyn, New York, number 0, Toppin. 5'9" senior from Houston, Texas, number 2, Ware. A 6'9" senior from Lubumbashi, Democratic Republic of the Congo, number 34, Oscar Tshiebwe. And the head coach of Kentucky, Hall of Famer, Calipari.
We haven't forgotten. That's why we're here. We haven't forgotten. This was a player-driven initiative. They came to me and said, let's go to East Kentucky. Let's play a game. Let's try to make some money to give back to those communities. Look at this. How about we were in many piloting today, handing out balls and coaching, doing some different things. The U-Pipe team and staff was there with us. Are they here today? Let's thank them. They were really good. Thanks, guys. We had Joe Craft with us down from Hazard, 60 miles away. Giving back and being a part of what we're doing, Joe. We always appreciate you. This is your program. It's your program. We feel a responsibility to bring you joy and, when necessary, provide relief when we can. We try to do it here in West Kentucky in different things. And let me say this again. We will never forget about any of you, and this program will always be here to lift the Commonwealth. At halftime, the players will present a check of how much money was raised by all of you to come to this event, and it will be announced at halftime. Lastly, we do have some injured players. So Severe can't go today. Lance can't go today. Oscar can't go today. So we're going to be counting numbers a little bit. So it's going to be, we're going to scrimmage, but we're also going to do some practice stuff. Okay? All right. We will also try to stay
John Calipari, little off-the-cuff opening remarks here at Appalachian Wireless Arena, where the Kentucky Wildcats in just a few moments will play their blue-white game. They'll do some warm-up drills, and as Calipari said, they'll scrimmage for a while. And after a break, they'll do some more drills, which they would rather we not share with them via our cameras. But Cameron, what a night! This place is packed.
But already a reminder of why we're here. You have been preparing for tonight for a week or so, thinking we're going to get a blue-white game, and we'll get some of one. But that's not why we're here. This is not a game that was originally on the calendar, as Coach Calipari said. The idea was player-born. We're going to come down here and raise some money for the flood relief of those awful floods that happened in eastern Kentucky.
And speaking of flood relief, the move actually began, and it was orchestrated by the players a few weeks ago when they got together and said, let's have an open practice, make it double as a telethon, and raise some money. And here's what it looked like. Here's some of the highlights.
Hello, my name is Wallace. I volunteer with the American Red Cross. Love you too. That was good.
CJ came to us and he told us like we need to do something about this, so we came together and we went to coach and we talked about what we can do to help benefit Eastern Kentucky, and we actually came up with this idea to have this open practice here. And look at all the amazing fans that came to support. We definitely thank them a lot for coming to support. It shows how special BBN is, how special this state is to come together and help Eastern Kentucky. So we're excited for this. We're excited to raise money to help Eastern Kentucky.
Here, Cameron Mills, Governor Andy Beshear,
Just off camera.
Oscar Tshiebwe is here with us as well. Oscar, I know how much you love playing with this team.
Right.
Is it killing you to not get out there and play with your brothers tonight?
For me, it's killing me. I wish I told coaches I'm good to go. The doctor said you got 2 more weeks just to get your knee healed and everything. But I told him, I said, I'm good to go, coach. Just put me in, I'll play. I'm good to go. I'm a machine. They call me a machine, so I'm good.
How long yesterday we were at practice, Oscar? How long did you go on that ubi where you were? Because what people didn't see is that you worked out yesterday.
Yes.
You got a good workout in yesterday.
Absolutely.
Nothing with your legs, but you sweated and sweated hard.
I went 10 miles on that.
10 miles.
I was
10
pushing
miles?
10 miles. I was running a lot.
Yep.
So I want to catch up with them. I don't want to, whenever I'm back, I'm really behind them. That's why I work a lot.
As you watch the game tonight, what are you going to watch for? I know what Coach is watching for. I know what Cameron Mills is watching for. What are you going to watch for tonight?
Say it again, please.
What are you going to watch for tonight? What are you going to look for in your teammates tonight?
Tonight, I'm just here. We want to have fun. We came here for all these people. We came here for all of them, and I want to see them do good things today. I wish I could go there and dunk on somebody and flex on all these fans. But I just want to see what my teammates, they can do tonight.
Well, Oscar, I know you're a man of faith. You came for
Right.
our governor's prayer breakfast. What does it mean for your faith and values to be able to serve people after they've been through such a difficult flood?
The Bible said again, the greatest among you shall be a servant. So for me to serve means it means a lot to me. And to be able here to ask what you say, let's go there. When the flood happened, we asked a coach, let's do something, let's go over there. So they said there was no way for us to go over there because whatever was happening here, but we help them raise money while we do the telephone, and we come up here. It just means a lot to me, and I'm just happy being here. Even I'm not playing, but I'm happy to see all of them here.
And I know you stopped by Jenny Wiley Park. We opened our state parks to take in people who'd lost everything.
Yes.
To say, we got you. We
Yes,
got a
sir.
roof over your head and food for you. How'd people react?
People react. They were happy to see me, to see my team, to see everybody. we give them the stuff we brought them, the sweatshirt, the hoodies, and a lot of different things. They were really happy. And you can see, sometimes people, they don't just need something to send to them. Sometimes they need your presence too.
Yeah.
That's why it means a lot for us to be there and to try to tell them how much we care about them.
So how many hugs did you give out? 100? 120?
Right now, I'll probably say like close to 200. I would give a lot.
One last question. You guys had a good year last year. We know it didn't end the way you wanted.
Yes.
How good can this team be?
This team, it is looking scary for me because everybody are competing. The freshmen from this year and last year, the difference is this year it seems more wary than last year. So I'm just very excited, and I'm pretty sure you watch us from Bahamas. I was like, Coach, you don't need to put me in there. Like, they do good.
Yes, they do. But that's a sweet thought. Oscar, thanks for coming by.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oscar Tshiebwe, reigning player of the year, chatting with yours truly, Dick Gabriel, Cameron Mills, and the governor, our co-anchor now.
Yes.
Andy,
Best questions came from the
questions,
governor.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Tell me, same question you put to Oscar to you. What does this mean to you as the governor of the state to see the fans turn out and help raise money?
Well, we've been through a lot these last 2.5 years. A pandemic, multiple ice storms, the worst tornado event we've ever seen, and now the worst flooding event we've ever seen. It left thousands with only the clothes on their back. Literally, they had waded out of that water. But tonight, now we talk about how the people of Kentucky love their cats. The cats are showing their love for the people of Kentucky. There are a lot of people here who barely made it through that flood that are smiling real big, and all our first responders, our National Guard, our Kentucky State Police. Now, they made over 1,400 saves in the first 48 hours. And so tonight it's to be a good night for the flood survivors, but also these first responders, and it means a lot.
You know, it just happened earlier this week, was driving from Virginia over the border, went through Whitesburg, went through Hazard, and saw what it did. Yeah. And we forget. Now, obviously, we're remembering it tonight. We're still raising money for the relief effort tonight. There's been a lot of cleanup done. The water obviously is receded, but there's trash in the trees, and there is a lot of work yet to do, and this goes a long way.
There is. It's probably about a 2-year rebuild when we think about not only picking up that debris, and we are close, which is amazing 3 months out, to take that chaos and to ship it out of town, out of county, and out of state. But then there's getting people in intermediate housing, our travel trailer program, where we have about 500 people that know they can stay months, not weeks there. But then it's rebuilding in a safe place. Maybe reimagining some of these communities where you can walk your kids to school, might have a medical clinic up there, a senior housing complex. We've got a chance to turn a terrible occurrence and tragedy into something new and special. And the people of Eastern Kentucky, just like the people of all Kentucky, they are strong. And you ask me how I'm feeling tonight? I'm proud of the people of Kentucky. They open their homes and their hearts to one another. They are good people. And I'll tell you a secret. I think all this economic development we're seeing right now is because the rest of the world is tuned in and seeing the good people we are.
And we might point out that all of this is happening as you're still trying to help the people in Western Kentucky.
Oh, yes.
After the tornadoes hit.
We just dedicated about 10 new homes just yesterday in Western Kentucky. So special to see people get those keys and 1 year later have that roof over their heads. December 10th will be that anniversary. Yep. Remember, we lost 81 people in that, 43 in these floods. But listen, we're going to be there for everybody in the East and the West, every day, every week, every month. And every year it takes to rebuild. Look around. Everybody else is going to be there with them, too.
Yeah. This might be the easiest question you've ever fielded as the governor. Are you ready? That guy right over there, John Calipari, the work he's done since he's gotten here, and he's always talked about servant leadership and giving back, and he's talked it and he's walked it, hasn't he? What do you think of that?
Coach Cal has been amazing. Not only after both natural disasters, but always looking for other ways to help his state and help his people. Now, talk about living out the golden rule of loving your neighbor as yourself and that everybody is your neighbor. Seeing the effort he's put in tonight and all the autographs. But you know, when you get a call from Coach Cal and he says, Governor, how can I help? Man, that's pretty special.
When you think about what the players did, as he even said in his opening comments, it was the players that went to him this time and said, how can we help? And I think about Oscar sitting here, who, I mean, we all know who and what Oscar is. But think about what Coach Cal, what those guys are, what Oscar's teaching these young guys about what it really means to be in this position as a Kentucky basketball player. You do have a lot of influence, and they're using it already. Some of them as freshmen, they're seeing how powerful that can be used for good.
They're all incredible athletes. They're showing they're incredible people, too. And just think, if we have this many people going forward into incredible professional careers, and they take a little bit of the God they've seen in some of these moments, they take the purpose. We've got a chance for this to grow with each of the players and to help people all over the country wherever they go.
I know you root for every team in the Commonwealth, of course. But tell me.
You know, I say as governor, I've got 2 jobs. To root for our Kentucky schools and to root against Duke.
Well put, well said. But I'm wondering, have you had a chance with Madness, with any other opportunities, to even eyeball this team yet? Because you could be busy in late March.
I watched the Bahamas, and what I see is a huge amount of talent. Some of it raw, some of it refined. I see the freshmen coming in and really working hard, playing defense, doing some of the things that maybe you don't see on the prep circuit. So, listen, I think the sky's the limit for this group. And when I think about having a guy like Oscar, who's come back hungry, who already was a leader, and I remember in that last game last season, I don't like to think about it too much, you could see how much it meant to him.
Oh, yeah.
If he can impart that amongst all these other players, they're going to do us proud. And yeah, I definitely find time to watch.
Yeah, it's fun watching Oscar, just talking to him, but watching how all these guys react to him, because it is undoubtedly watching practice yesterday, even when he wasn't in it, who the leader of this team is. I mean, there's no doubt. And watching how he reacts they react to him on and off the court, it's just fun watching that influence happen.
And we got just a chance to chat with him in the back and Toppin and showing his leadership, too.
Yeah.
I know you're sitting up there with Rocky Atkins.
Oh, yes.
Pretty good college career at Morehead State. I covered his games. How old am I? At Morehead State. So you'll probably be hearing him critiquing the shooting all night. You're all right.
Oh, yes. But I got to tell you, Rocky and I show that there's still civility in politics. You know, we actually ran against each other.
Is
if
that
you
right?
go back. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And here he is, my senior advisor. We travel everywhere. He's become a great friend. This administration is so much better for him. But for also not worrying about what happened yesterday and trying to make sure we all come together to do the best for our people. Rocky is the favorite son of Eastern Kentucky.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And couldn't have we couldn't have provided the services we have thus far, and we're going to in the future without Rocky.
Well, he could burn it up, and he could shoot about as well as a lot of these guys out there. Governor, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much.
Have a great time tonight.
And I'm not going to tell Rocky all that praise.
I'll tell him. I'll tell him next time I see him.
Thank you all so much.
Thanks, Governor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That's Governor Andy Beshear joining us here courtside, just about ready for the scrimmage. And if you're just joining us, Dick Gabriel, Cameron Mills. And the plan tonight, it's not quite a full-blown scrimmage after these warm-up drills, because as John Calipari mentioned off the top, Cameron, Lance Ware still dealing with a back issue. We all know about Oscar and his knee. And just yesterday in practice, you and I were there, and Severe Wheeler going after a loose ball, banged his knee on the floor. So
I think
smart things keep him out.
Yeah, and I think the important thing for all the fans to realize is all these injuries that we're seeing early on this season, these are normal. None of them are very serious. Oscar, I mean, you see him here, the people that are in the arena right now, that he is walking around with no limp. They're being precautious, keeping him out. Same thing with Severe. Severe banged his knee yesterday really hard, but immediately got up, after a moment or two, got up and went back into practice. So they're just being cautious. It does kind of put a little wrinkle in the idea of this being a true blue-white scrimmage, but they're going to do, hopefully put on a show here tonight, scrimmage a little bit, but it's important to realize these injuries aren't due, they're not over-practicing, they're practicing hard, but this just happens. It happens when you're going to get out there and you're preparing for a season. You're going to have these little fiddling injuries.
I got to think we'll see more tonight in the scrimmage than we saw. And if you want to call it a scrimmage during Madness, that kind of turned into an ex officio
a dunkathon, right? Yeah, it always does.
But tell me a little bit. Of course, you've got 2 championship rings. You walked on and became a scholarship player. But do you remember, first of all, your first blue-white game?
I don't remember my first. Gosh, this sounds so selfish. I remember my second because I remember Coach Patino calling the timeout because for whatever reason, I don't know if I wasn't being guarded or I just got fired, but I had like 19 on like Tony Delk. And Coach Patino called a timeout and had some choice words for Tony. I didn't even know it happened until afterwards. I'm like, you called a timeout because of me? All right, then. But then I didn't play the rest of the year. So I had my moment that year. But blue-white always, now when I played, it never turned into a dunk-a-thon because, as you said rightly so, yeah, we're doing drills right now. It's going to be different than what we saw at Madness. It's going to be more like what we saw in practice yesterday.
Yes.
Probably without Coach Cal blowing the whistle and stopping and coaching as much, because we saw that a lot yesterday. I mean, they get in the flow, he'd see something wrong, he'd immediately blow that whistle and correct it. Probably going to have a little more flow. We're going to see a lot more up and down, but I don't think it's going to turn into a dunk-a-thon, nor do I want it to. I want to see these guys go at it the way we saw in practice yesterday, and I think the fans want to see that too.
I do too, and I think it's also going to be interesting to see, and again, your 96 team, and to a degree your 98 team, well, your 97 team too.
Yeah.
It was all about combinations, rotation, who plays best with whom.
Yeah.
And John Calipari's got a lot of options, doesn't he?
A lot, and a lot more than I think I realized until watching practice this week. And I think a lot more than people realize. Look, every year we go into it, and we know there's going to be a lot of talent. What I think we've got this year, obviously, we've got big talent, a lot of scoring, a lot of rebounding, a lot of defense coming back, and a lot of experience and some upperclassmen. We got some freshmen, though, that look like physically upperclassmen. But the thing that stuck out to me yesterday in practice, and this was so exciting to watch, is that we have been wanting Calipari coach team, we wanting him as a state, as fans, to go after, get some more three-point shooting, right? I'm not sure there's but one guy on this team that if he's open, isn't supposed to turn it loose from the three-point line. And because in practice yesterday, what was the most common thing he yelled at the guys about?
Shoot.
If you are open and you don't shoot, you are coming out. Now, I mean, the confidence that gives any of these guys to say, basically, I better shoot. I mean, they're going to be, it's going to lead to some bad shots, too. But the bottom line is to have the confidence of your coach tell you the only mistake you can make where you're going to get yanked over and put by me is if you're open and you don't shoot.
Well, we know C.J. Frederick can shoot. We have heard Jacob Toppin has expanded his range. Xavier Wheeler working on his shot. But when you and I got to practice, the guy who was filling it up just in a practice drill was Cason Wallace.
Yeah.
You know, and he was one of the guys you were referring to. I really like him and Chris Livingston, speaking of the devil, because they don't look like callow freshmen, and they don't play that way either. But Wallace, if he can carry over that shooting touch, and I'll get you to critique some shooting touch tonight. That's him, number 22. That's going to be a huge plus.
Well, it's, again, watching these guys, because another physical difference, we talked about Wallace and Livingston. They physically don't look like freshmen. But the big thing Jacob Toppin doesn't look like Jacob Toppin from last year, right? I mean, Oscar kind of looks like Oscar from last year, but these guys have bulked up. And you and I have talked about it so many times. What matters as far as improvement is that freshman to sophomore year, summer, right? When you're making that transition, because you've had a full year of understanding what college basketball is like, the expectations of the work ethic, and then you start to put on weight in that summer between freshman and sophomore year. And yet Wallace and Livingston have come in and already look like they've got that in between freshman summer year workout. And the rest of the team, again, we got a lot of upperclassmen. That's the big thing too, is that they look big, they look strong, they look like they've been in the weight room this summer.
And there's a lot of length, a lot of quickness, and we'll see it on display tonight here in the Appalachian Wireless Arena. It is a full house, as you might expect, a few empty seats here and there, but we got here at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and fans were already lined up. And as a former player, you're kind of used to that, but it's good to see it wherever you go.
It is. And you try to, as a player, you try to be cool about it. You try to, that's what we expect. But the reality is, when you see it, man, you start strutting a little bit. You start, that swagger kind of returns as far as like, oh, man, look how many people come in Pikeville, Kentucky, to watch us basically practice. Because one way or the other, that's what a blue and white is. It's a practice. It may be a game, but it's for the coaches to see, all right, what lineups are we going to put where, and let's put these guys in a real game situation. But it still can be interrupted from time to time with a blown whistle from the coach, not the officials, and say, all right, guys, we got to do this better or we got to do that better.
They will begin the scrimmage portion of the evening any minute now. As you can see, still some drills going on, more drills on the way. But these are just to loosen up a little bit.
Well, I mean, basically it's warm-up, and we saw this again yesterday too. Full court pressure, full court pressure, and then there's an automatic turnover. Now we're going into dummying up some offense. Another thing we saw yesterday, Dick, is that this team, it's maybe a Calipari adjustment. They're starting from a lot more sets and running a lot more plays. I don't know if this is going to last all year, but you saw less dribble drive yesterday. You saw less on-the-ball screening. You did see some handoff screens, but you saw some sets. There were some names called out for some plays off of these sets, and then a lot of it was just in a broad sense what we used to call motion, where we're going to set up in one thing and we're just going to play ball and we're going to respond to what the defense gives us. A lot of that yesterday, and that what was exciting to watch it is already how many, and give credit to the Bahamas on this, a lot of these guys seem to have that second sense on where a teammate's going to be. How many blind passes did we see connect yesterday? I don't know if they called a swing pass or what, but they have this hook shot pass that they throw to each other, and they know where their teammate's going to be, or at least he better be, or it's going to be a turnover. We saw a lot of that converting into good offense yesterday.
Well, you've seen back-to-back threes, not under pressure, and with some dunks mixed in. First, it was Thiero, who I think can provide this team some depth, but also from the guy everybody's waiting to see when it comes to three-point shooting, and that's C.J. Frederick. And I will ask you, as a guy who never met a shot he didn't like, what do you think of his form?
I love his form. I do. But what I love more than anything is that in spite of the injuries he's had in the past, is that he is walking out there, and we had him on the 10th City game on the UK network, and all of a sudden he came out seemingly like with the confidence of a guy who has had the career he's had, but has had it at Kentucky, right? It wasn't that he was a transfer. It wasn't that he was new. He was a part of this team, and he was acting like it. And he also talked about how many shots he's getting up a game. As far as his form, it's weird because I don't care what kind of form you have. Yeah, there's a certain form that definitely helps you be a better shooter. But I go back to Wayne Turner, and I look at how broken that form was. But broken as your form might be, you get up 500 jump shots a day, as these guys are right now, including their 2.5-hour practices, you're going to become a better shooter. And it's just exciting to see CJ coming out. He's got some swagger, and I guarantee you he is desperately wanting to show the Commonwealth that he is as advertised when it comes to outside that three-point line.
Looks like the final huddle before blue-white action begins here at Appalachian Wireless Arena. And we saw Damian Collins flying through the air. We saw a lot of that this week in practice. The former McDonald's All-American invited to the Jordan Classic in double figures last year 3 times. And in limited minutes, Cameron, he led the Wildcats in blocks 7 times. And on 3 occasions had at least 3 or more blocks. He's got to be able to build on that this year.
Well, you know, again, what comes with that is experience in knowing how to block a shot. A lot of it is it's athleticism. It's being able to get up there and grab a ball. But so much of it also is the timing, knowing when to block it against the backboard, knowing to block it in bounds and not block it out of bounds so you get possession or have a chance to get possession. You know, sometimes guys want to go up and block shots and they want to volleyball it out of bounds. You know, and kind of, as we heard Oscar say, flex on the crowd. I mean, that's I get it. I mean, I get wanting to do that, but the team needs you to block it and keep it in bounds so we can get the possession. But even that, having somebody, and there are a lot of guys on this team, by the way, that are going to get a lot of blocks this year, it's intimidation near the rim. It's giving that guard on the offense that second thought of when they're going in that paint, I know somebody's back there. Who's going to be back there and who's going to be waiting on me, and that causes a lot of chaos for offense.
Officials Anthony Jordan, Patrick Evans, Garrick Shannon, Frederick, Livingston, Toppin, Wallace, and I'm trying to see through somebody, Damian Collins, Thiero, Onyenso for the blue, Antonio Reeves, Brennan Canada walk on, and Walker Horn getting the start for the blue team, the son of Northern Kentucky University coach Darren Horn, and we are underway here in Pikeville. Blue-white action here on SEC Plus. Glad to have you along. Man-to-man defense, obviously, for the Blues. There it is.
Immediately see that confidence. I mean, catch, release. No doubt about that was going up.
That's what we've heard about Damian Collins. He's kind of added that arrow to his quiver, the three-point shot. Actually, a 2-pointer. There's a 3-pointer.
Thiero.
That's a guy who's going to contribute this year, no doubt. Just a matter of how many minutes does he get. Wallace breaks free, and a block shot already Onyenso is a guy who can Onyenso can get up. Causes problems for Oscar Tshiebwe in practice, getting his shot off.
Onyenso sits there at 6'11", just a force no matter what, and he's only going to put muscle on that frame.
And a wingspan of like 7'5", and there's Jacob Toppin going for the basketball. I'm curious to see what he does tonight and what he does until Oscar gets back.
Talking about Agano or Toppin? Toppin, yeah. Well, again,
Agano too.
Well, I mean, any of them basically, because they've all got to deal with Oscar when he gets back. But Oscar's got to deal with them, and Toppin has put on so much weight. Yesterday, remember the sprints? He was leading every sprint. Toppin was, leading every sprint by 10 yards. He was blowing the whole team away.
What a turnover, and there's Thiero with a steal. Turnover by the Blues.
But great pass by Horn that time. Again, the quick passes. Calipari yesterday in practice talking over and over again. That ball should not sit still. It needs to go. We don't need to be thinking about what we're doing next. We need to react and push it.
Walker Horn listed as being from Westlake, Texas, as turnaround jumper falls for Livingston. Of course, Walker spent 2 years of high school ball in Covington. So a 4-3 lead for the Whites. That's Antonio Reeves trying to find some room to work.
Got the tip in.
Absolutely.
Love, he is the pure scorer on this team.
Yes.
I mean, Oscar's going to get it done down low. We're going to have some three-point shooting, but Reeves can do it from everywhere.
The fade from Frederick. And Thiero on the rebound. He's active early tonight. Wide open.
Love that decision. Love it. All the way down, expecting defense to pull up on him. Nobody there, you shoot the shot. It's exactly what Calipari was talking about yesterday. You do not pass up open shots.
So the blue team cuts it to 2. Collins looking for help. That's Wallace open. That's what we saw all day yesterday.
We've been asking for a three-point shooting team, folks. I'm telling you, we may have one this year from every position.
So now a 9-5 game. That was a 2-pointer.
We'll count it as a 3. Maybe not on the scoreboard.
We don't have a good look at the three-point line from where we are. Thiero on the move again.
Good back door.
That's Reeves off the glass.
It's funny. We watched this great offense early on, and now, as a coach, what do? Where's the defense? Why aren't we playing defense?
Wallace with a crossover. Baseline opportunity for Livingston.
Penetration, kick-out pass, extra pass to the corner, penetration.
And a quick step to the bucket.
Quick rise, too.
Thiero again. They are showing him no respect.
No
respect.
No, who's guarding him? I mean, no one is guarding him, but who should be guarding him?
A dude from Quaker Valley High School. The White answers quickly. Jacob Toppin. Jacob in his 3rd season with the Wildcats.
Thiero getting a lot done. He's hitting threes, he's coming to the ball to get it and then forcing that foul. That time by Livingston.
Timeout on the floor. The Whites leading the Blues 13-10. The last time we saw these guys was Big Blue Madness. Let's take a look back at that special night in Rupp Arena.
Love 22, Coach Calipari.
I'm really liking this team. So why don't we stop talking and let's go have some fun. All these guys performed for all of us, and I'm appreciative of what they've done for this program, this state, for me and my family, and for the Big Blue Nation. We appreciate you guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the evening for the 3-point competition.
Three-point shooters, that left-right rhythm with the shoes. Left-right, goes into your shot, flick of the wrist, that's mine.
How about 19?
Antonio Reeves is your champion. How are you able to be so hot out there?
I didn't even think about it. Just shooting the ball, man. Just follow.
Big Blue attention. Who wants to see some people fly? I just want to ask a question. What is the bar that you're looking to have set tonight by these competitors?
Don't miss.
What makes you want to be part of this event right now?
Because that was horrible.
All right, you heard it. It's very simple.
Oh, okay. All right, that got a rise out of the prongs. My name is Jacob Toppin, and I just made history.
This is a group that I would say you're going to have some fun watching and be proud of. I appreciate it. The players appreciate you coming out. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Thank you.
That was a fun night in Rupp Arena, and the dunk by Jacob Toppin, Cameron. I've seen a lot of madness. I was there at the very first one.
Yeah.
I saw Kenny Walker throw down.
Yeah.
I don't remember one like the one Jacob Toppin.
Well, I mean, he was ineligible to win, and yet somehow won the dunk contest. So it must have been something special.
That's how good it was.
Down here right before this play, coming back on white, but C.J. Frederick knocks down his first three. The freshman getting it done so far in this blue-white game. Wallace and Livingston, 5 and 4 apiece. Thiero with 7.
And a rebound, leading a break.
There you go.
Rejection for Mr. Collins. We'll see a lot this year.
I mean, he didn't block that at the play. He blocked that mid-flight.
Other side.
From a small town in East Texas, Atlanta, Texas, on the the Louisiana border, but Collins has found his way to Kentucky.
Reeves playing point guard now for Blue, and Thiero launches another one.
And Frederick on the rebound. Collins open. Onyenso battling for the board.
I don't care that he missed that. I love that the moment he caught it, he shot it. I mean, he was a good 2 or 3 feet past that three-point line. But again, moment, catch, release. He didn't even think about it, and that's what Coach Cal was yelling about yesterday in practice a lot.
That's Orlando Antigua hollering on the white bench. Nice move by Toppin. We expect to see a lot of that.
Well, he had Walker Horn on him, so he should have scored one way or the other. But nonetheless, nice back him down and then fade away.
Jacob Toppin must have adhered to his pregame superstition of eating candy.
Does it say what kind of candy? What kind of research do we have on that?
That's I'm going to put you on that. That's a great question.
Jolly Ranchers.
Can't go wrong. Shot clock at 3.
Nope.
And the white team battling for the rebound.
Forgot to pick it up.
Back to the Blues it goes, but there's Collins in there battling with Livingston. That's another thing I think you'll see a lot of this year is the guards rebounding quite a bit. Horn to trigger. Where's 21? Just like his dad. Just like the guy sitting next to me.
Wears it well. It's a pretty number.
Well, we saw Tayshaun Prince play through a pretty good career wearing 21.
Guy by the name of Jack Gibbons, I believe, wore
Not
it.
too bad. Jack is here with Tom Leach at the other end of the press table, working for the UK Sports Network. He's the new radio analyst. And my partner tonight will be working the pregame coverage of Kentucky basketball this season.
Again, Thiero making things happen for this blue team. Penetration, gets by his man, forces a big man to come to him,
and
draws the foul, now go to the line for 2.
That's the key word, force. He's trying to force John Calipari to play him. He's trying to show you cannot leave me on the bench.
I mean, but isn't that what they're all trying to do every day?
Absolutely.
And again, that's why they go. You see them go so hard in practice. I mean, Oscar mentioned it again in that Tent City conversation we had, where these guys are going at each other. I mean, they are, scrapping. I hate to use that word, but that's what's going on. They've got bruises. They're sore. I mean, they're all fighting for playing time. I somewhat akin to that '96 team. I mean, you got a lot of guys out there that want to play.
Well, Severe Wheeler sitting out tonight with a bruised knee and a big shot by Frederick, a three-pointer.
You know, a lot of people.
Severe was fighting for a loose ball.
Yeah, and that was the thing. And then we saw a couple of attempted block shots that might have been fouls where guys tumbling over. Look, when you have this much athleticism and this much ego, and you're going to have some accidents. You're going to have some guys on the floor.
Steal by Wallace.
Fortunately, most of these guys are made of rubber at this point.
Got his own top and rejected by Onyenso. White team is back thwarting the fast break, but the blue with the extra pass. Walker Horn with an opportunity, could not get it to fall. Frederick had his eye on the rim, you know that. There's that jump hook that Collins is, I can't say he's perfected it, but it's much better now.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, with Onyenso right there, he had no other option. I mean, that's why you have the jump hook in your repertoire. You got to be able to, when you're going against a guy 6'11", you're trying to get that inside shot off. That baby hook, it's one of the only weapons that'll do it.
Well, Collins was a high jumper, not talking about his basketball career, his track career in high school. Won the district and regional title in Atlanta, Texas. Got some hops. Livingston. Boy, Reeves blew right through the defense.
Got the nice little finger roll, too. Switch from the right to the left.
That's right.
Put the little spin on it. English drew it in.
So the Whites by 7.
Collins isn't bashful at all tonight.
You got to love what you're seeing.
Hey, but I'm going to remind you, I love what I'm seeing offensively, but their coaches on both benches are saying, what the heck are we doing on defense? That's the thing about it. Unless you're playing, if offense is playing good, that typically means defense isn't.
Timeout on the floor, 12 minutes left. And the Whites leading the Blues 23-14. And that young man, Damian Collins, I think Cameron playing with so much more confidence now.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, having that next year in, with the difference it makes in confidence. And we talked about the transition from freshman year to sophomore, but now you're coming in, you don't feel out of place. You feel like you know what's going to happen. Nothing is a surprise to you, and you know that confidence is going to build and build through the season. But I just love the way he's out here blocking shots, playing defense, more importantly, catch and release, catch and release, catch and release. He feels like on some level he's got the green light. Maybe he does.
You know, he's showing he can do more than dunk, because people I know remember among the games last year, he had only 9 minutes, but what an impact he made in the win down at Alabama, where he had 10 points and 6 rebounds and basically just broke for the rim. And his teammates found him for dunk after dunk. But he wants to show he can score out on the floor, and he's done that tonight.
And not just out on the floor, from deep. I mean, he's shooting three-point shots right on the three-point line. And again, I keep repeating it, but it's such an important thing to have a guy that high, that tall, that's going to draw that defense out, open up the lane, force that defense to come out. Because even if he's not hitting, if he's willing to shoot it, and he's shown he can hit it, because sometimes you're shooting the ball with confidence, that defense, even if they don't have a scout on you, they are going to respond and say, I got to go get this guy. That's just going to open up things down in the middle. And down in the middle, on a typical game, we're going to have Toppin, we're going to have Oscar. I mean, we're going to have some guys that can do a lot of damage down there.
Thiero with a game-high 8 points for the Blue squad. There's one of your former teammates, Mr. Jeff Shepard, in the gray sweatshirt. And, of course, for the white team, Frederick with 6. Wallace with 5. And the Whites are hitting 10 out of 16, just 6 out of 14 for the Blues. Whites playing some pretty good defense.
Let's go back to the 3-point. 1 out of 5 for the blue team, and 3 out of 5 for the white team. And most of that, again, Wallace and Livingston, 2 freshmen coming up big. We've seen CJ, I think Frederick hit 2. Like freshmen. A lot of yesterday in practice, we saw some freshman mistakes. We know we're going to see them, especially turnovers, but they're coming out here and showing a lot of confidence early, and just having that physical body to be able to push people around and not get pushed yourself makes a big difference.
Wallace and Livingston both consensus 5 stars. Rivals rating Wallace number 7, Livingston number 10. Heck of a recruiting class for John Calipari. And he's got another one on the way, as we all know. Still waiting to hear from one in particular. Thiero in a little bit of trouble. Good defense by Livingston. 10 seconds on the shot clock.
That's where you want it.
Reeves with a long miss. Here comes the white team as they try to build on their lead.
Love the way Toppin, again, 6'9" guy penetrating from the top of the key. And again, looks away the defender with the dribble going down, looks away, passes the corner. Yeah, led to a turnover. But again, when you got someone 6'9", able to back his man down and just break on him into the middle, defense shuts down.
Kareem Watkins is checked in, a junior from Camden, New Jersey, for the Blue Squad. That's Thiero. Canada down the lane. Circus shot gets it to go.
When you go at the defense, especially coming off those curl screens, you go at the defense, force that body contact. As long as they're not flat-footed, and most of the time they're going to be trying to block that shot or contest it, you're going to force the official to call that foul.
Brendan, a member of the Frank G. Ham Society of Character, played in 9 games last year. Scored his first career points against Central Michigan. Collins, the handoff to Frederick.
Was there any doubt? Any doubt he was going to shoot that when he came off that screen? Nice little screen on the wing, and Frederick come off now feeling it. He has hit 3 threes, 3 or 4, I believe, on the game, on the half.
And you have told me that, I remember once you told me coming out of high school where you shot the ball a little bit. There's Onyenso with a comeback.
Nice touch.
Yep. You told me, though, you said I thought I knew how to use screens, so
yeah.
I got to college.
Had no idea.
Frederick clearly already knows.
Yeah, I mean, look, set his man up, and then coming off, he knew his man had been screened, so he's going to be open even with the switch, and so he knew he's going to have an open shot.
Toppin with the open shot. The smallest man on the court pulls it down. That's Watkins up to Reeves.
Now, you said earlier the guards are going to be rebounding this year. So
Onyenso
goes to work.
looks for some room to operate.
Thiero just coming out on fire, making everything happen. I don't remember him being this assertive yesterday in practice.
Well, he had a good night's sleep, I guess.
Maybe.
On the bus ride down, he thought, what am I going to do to help myself
He's taking
tonight?
full advantage of the minutes he's getting right now.
Absolutely.
4 of 7, 10 points.
1,624 points in high school, 3rd in team history. 44 points in 1 game. Holds the single game record at Quaker Valley. And you know what? He played soccer and lacrosse, so you got to think footwork's pretty good. Tried to thread the needle to Frederick, but Blues, well, actually the Whites kicked it away.
Like the aggressiveness from the pass, but I don't think Frederick was open on that back door.
You know what's great about games like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they give it to the White?
I think Frederick went over there and talked him into it. CJ's a persuasive man.
Well, he's a veteran.
Yes, he is. Listen, there is an art to speaking to an official.
You know what's fun about blue-white games? They are ultra competitive. They really are.
How much different is what we've seen than madness? I mean, this is night and day different.
That's Collins again, crossover. And Toppin.
Pretty.
Jacob Toppin. Drops it in.
Floats it in. I mean, again, penetrating from the wing, from the perimeter to have big men being able to put the ball in the dribble and take it to the rim one-on-one.
Toppin with 6. They finally show a little D on Thiero, and now Onyenso just up and over everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that. You mentioned what's a 7-foot, 5-inch wingspan. I mean, when he goes to the baby hook, it's unstoppable.
Wallace with a bad miss.
Bad shot too, but nonetheless, Cal wants them shooting if they think they're open.
The fadeaway, but Onyenso, a little too much contact from the defense. Look at Livingston racing down the court.
Caught the defense flat-footed.
And he'll shoot free throws.
That's what all those wind sprints we saw them do yesterday do, too. All of a sudden, somebody's going to just turn on the Jets like that and blow by everybody because defense is not hustling back. Livingston took advantage of it, and he'll get 2.
Livingston is kind of a unicorn. Gatorade Player of the Year last year in Virginia. The year prior, Gatorade Player of the Year in Ohio. Not too many people have that on their resume. Player of the Year in 2 different states.
That's 2 lifetime supplies of Gatorade for him.
And, of course, McDonald's All-American, Jordan Brand Classic, 18 points, 9 boards, 4 assists at Oak Hill Academy last year. Lead is only 5 for the white team. Coming up on 8 minutes left. Thiero on the move again. Toppin cuts him off. Canada Open. Collins and Onyenso battling. Here come the whites.
Nice pass.
Freshman to freshman connection. And it works. 29-24. Timeout on the floor. And we're hoping that we get a chance to visit with one of the Wildcats who's sitting out tonight. Already talked to Oscar Tshiebwe. Well, we're hoping to get Severe Wheeler. But I think he maybe, he's eavesdropping on his coach. I guess you can't blame him for chatting or sitting in on the huddle with John Calipari.
He's learning.
So let's take a look at the Severe Wheeler on video, shall we?
I'm Severe Wheeler, and I play for the love of the game. My first memories of basketball probably go back to when we was living in New York, with my dad and watching play in the parks. My dad and my mom, they met at Rucker Park. So I had to be a baller. I had to be a point guard. Like, from New York City, and your parents meet at Rucker Park. Like, you gotta be nice. You gotta be nice with it. That they were my motivation. They were someone who were with me, throughout the whole journey. Obviously, I have built a lot of relationships, built a lot of friends. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's really them too who kind of drive me on my journey. When Hurricane Harvey hit, it was like one of the most devastating hurricanes to come through Texas or even the country. Got 5 or 6 feet of water in my house. And my family relocated to College Station, but I would still commute an hour and a half every single day to high school. So I would wake up and drive an hour and a half to get to school by 8:30 or 9, work out, lift, practice, then drive an hour and a half back every single day for like my junior and my senior year of high school. So that's definitely one of the biggest sacrifices that just come to mind. I love the fans. I love to compete. Like, I've always been a guy who wants to be the best at everything. Even with my siblings, who can eat the fastest, who has the best handwriting, who has the best grades. The environment, this place breathes basketball, and that's motivating to know that you're set at a high standard. Like, I wouldn't want it any other way, I know what all comes with it, the highs, the lows, but I'm a kid that was always gonna strive for, excellence in everything I do, so why not? Something I love the most, I play the most, I enjoy being around the most, why not have that expectation set high, and that's here at Kentucky.
Back at Appalachian Wireless Arena, Dick Gabriel, the 2-time national champion, Cameron Mills. And now we're joined by the man of the hour. He was just in the video we saw, Severe Wheeler. A little bit of a different look for you, young man. The most important question I know people want to know, they want to know about the team, but first you got to tell us about the haircut.
Nah, it's just a haircut, just something different. I think it was getting too long, and I think when my hair is short, I look more like my mom, so I want to look like her. She's the pretty one.
What a great answer. That is the best answer
That was
ever.
good.
That was fantastic. All right, tell us a little bit. Assure your fans that you're okay, just a minor bump on your knee, right?
Yeah.
So
what happened yesterday? Because we were at practice, we saw that play where it was just a loose ball drill, even though it was live, 5-on-5, but just bumped your knee hard on the ground.
Yeah. We was diving at the same time. I jumped and I kind of got caught and just banged my knee.
All good. All right, tell us about this team, because as a point guard, how you're going to have so many options, aren't you?
Yeah,
for distributing the basketball.
Definitely, we have a lot of great players on our team. We have guys that can do a little bit of everything. We have athleticism, speed, length. We got guys who can make shots, guys who can get to the rim, create their own shot, guys who are physical. I mean, that's what you want. That's what you want for a makeup of a really good basketball team.
It's assumed as point guard you're going to be the leader of this team. May or may not be true, but we saw something yesterday in practice that Dick and I have been talking a lot about. I don't know if you recall this, but there was a moment, dead ball, you all were doing 5-on-5, and someone on the other team went around the corner to get something to drink. And you being on the team that Coach Cal was coaching, stopped everything and said, whoa, that's not what you do. So do you remember this moment? It was either Livingston or Wallace, I remember. And I remember saying to Dick, that's what you want out of a point guard. He didn't wait for Cal to correct him. Severe went up and said, yo, this isn't how we do it. Yeah. This is how we do it.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I think it might have been Chris. But, I mean, I think everything we do is about togetherness, about doing it together. Whether that's on the court, off the court, being coached, like everything is for each other so we can be our best version so we can win games. And I think that was just a teaching point. You know, as a younger guy, not really used to, in high school, you kind of everything's, about you. I mean, we're the best players in the country here. So your former place, you were the best player, one of the best ones. So here is about sacrificing. It's about being for each other, playing for each other. Because if we win, everyone's going to eat, and that's the biggest thing for us.
What I love the most about it is you got on him. I mean, you're not the head coach, but you're the leader. You got on him. His response was immediate, like, my bad. Yeah. And then, I don't know if you saw, told all his players, my bad, guys, my bad, guys. I mean, he responded to you like, this is my leader.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference. Yes, you're exactly right. It's good.
I'll let you go with this because I know you want to get back to your teammates, but you guys did such a great job with the open practice, the telethon, and then you get together for all of this for flood relief. After you've already helped the people in Western Kentucky, what does it mean to you to be a part of a movement like that?
I mean, I think some of it is I can relate to some of these people because I went through something similar like that with Hurricane Harvey. And back in Houston, back in 2017, I believe. I think it was my junior year. So I know what these people are feeling like or what they've gone through. The amount of adversity it takes to be able to stay strong, be surrounded by loved ones, people that you care about. And I feel like, a lot of the Kentucky fans across the state look up to us, we're their sign of hope. And I feel like if we can come out and be interactive with them and show that we care by not just do, a video or a text or a tweet, but actually being there physically, like with them, touching them, talking to them, whatever it is, having that experience and to be able to interact with them. I think that's the biggest thing we can do besides, obviously raising money to help those in need. So this touched me a lot.
Severe really looking to lead the SEC in assists again. What, third year in a row, right? That would be the third year in a row. Yeah, all right.
Now, you don't ask a player about his statistics. You don't do that. He doesn't know about his statistics.
You tell me about
He's not allowed to look at the stats.
The time.
No, he goes and plays.
Severe, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you coming by.
Yes, sir.
Severe Wheeler, Kentucky point guard with a lot of options. Can you imagine bringing the ball down the floor?
For this team?
Yes.
Yeah. And having not only 4 other options, but including yourself as an option.
Yeah.
I know we got a game going on. Can we speak again to what Governor Beshear talked about, what Oscar talked about? I mean, the maturity, just the maturity of these guys. Severe. I mean, I understand they're upperclassmen, but for them to come down here and think, you know what, we're thinking bigger than basketball. We are thinking much bigger than basketball. And then to articulate it the way he did and the way Oscar did and say, this isn't about coming down here and sending texts or raising money. It's about pressing the flesh. We're going to come down here, we're going to thank these people, and we're going to tell them we're there for them. It's unheard of. It's unheard of for guys this young to have that kind of maturity and to be thinking outside of themselves like that.
That young man now with 15 points, and there's quite the battle at the rim with Reeves trying to take it in. He'll be shooting now. He's got 12 points. Thiero with the blue lead with 13.
I wonder if Coach Cal brought the football helmet down here to Pikeville.
He really should have.
We saw it there yesterday. It was sitting there prominently. Nobody was forced to wear it then.
Reeves, the transfer from Illinois State.
Reeves started this half off slow and has poured in 13 fairly quiet points in the last about 12 minutes.
Best three-point shooter in the Missouri Valley. Livingston gets his own. Stolen by Thiero.
Thiero is everywhere.
Nice pass.
Again, watch that ball move.
Post
Inside 4.5 minutes, and Livingston trying for the steal.
Oh, we saw him again. The ball moves, especially around the corner. Got trapped down in the opposite corner after it had been reversed. Heard Coach Orlando Antigua wanting the ball into the post. You heard him yell post, it didn't go. But yet again, second option. Ball thrown back out to Watkins, and we've got another chance to set up a play, set up a set, and see if we can go back at it. So the patience good.
Onyenso reclassified, so he was able to join the Wildcats. Didn't join up with the Putnam Science Academy team last year until January, and then all they did was go 20-0 and win the mythical national high school
title. I wouldn't expect that from the Putnam Science Academy.
They can ball.
Can they? I was unaware of that.
Well, they could.
Apparently they can ball.
When they had,
I don't know what the mythical national championship is, but
the guy they call Ugo led him to a title.
Good switch.
Collins battling for the rebound. And the putback. And at the 4-minute mark, it's the white team 43, the blue team 38. We will step out. Let's take another look at some of the video that we've got as the Wildcats have come together for flood relief.
Hello, my name is Wallace. I'm volunteer with the American Red Cross. Bye-bye. Love you too. That was good.
CJ came to us and he told us like we need to do something about this, so we came together and we went to coach and we talked about what we can do to help benefit Eastern Kentucky, and we actually came up with this idea to have this open practice here, and look at all the amazing fans that came to support. We definitely thank them a lot for coming to support. It shows how special BBN is, how special this state is to come together and help Eastern Kentucky. So we're excited for this. We're excited to raise money to help Eastern Kentucky.
You're looking at them like they're exhausted. Gotta tell the truth. Gonna worn out? What we'll probably do if we play, it'll be a running clock. Yeah. If we. Well, I think we will. We're gonna go in at halftime. They're done. They're spent.
Back in Pikeville, that is the UK Alumni Band playing the UK fight song. And we just had a quick conversation, Cameron, with John Calipari. And we asked him, are you going to play another half? And he said, well, first of all, we're going to take a break. He said, look at them, they're exhausted.
Okay.
Well, they're playing hard, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure he knows what we're going to do. As we said, a lot of calling the shots at the last minute here because, again, they're undermanned. They're missing 3 of their key players who are sitting out today.
There's no subs.
Honestly, we haven't seen we've seen maybe 1 or 2.
Well, Kareem Watkins came in.
Watkins came in, and I think Canada came in. He may have started.
Yeah.
But one way or the other, I mean, these guys have been going. And again, this isn't Big Blue Madness scrimmaging. No. This is hard.
That's right. Deflection by Frederick. Run out by Wallace. And the Whites extend their lead. Quick hands.
Yeah. Not just to get that steal, though, but take it down the court. Change hands on the dribble. Keep it from being back-tipped and get the left-hand layup.
Wallace with a complete game. He's shown the shooting, the touch, the handle, the defense. And that young man has done the same, Jacob Toppin.
Stop the ball!
Well, he missed the shot, but you heard Orlando Tshiebwe on stop the ball, and nobody did. Got a wide-open look. Reeves on the run. You said something to me in practice this week watching Reeves being as much a scorer as a shooter. And no problem pulling up, but also no problem taking it to the rim.
No, and that's the thing. He gets a lot of credit for his three-point shooting, and that makes him an exciting player, but it also makes him a multidimensional player. He has no problem taking it. I mean, we see several bursts of speed where he's outrunning guys on the fast break and then pushing it in and physically able to take the contact. Because that's one thing. My freshman, sophomore year, actually could be argued maybe all 4 years that I played, I stayed outside that three-point line, not only because I got myself in trouble inside it, but I didn't want to draw the contact. But these guys have got some muscle on them. They'll go in there and physically intend to draw that foul, try to get that three-point play.
Reeves played at Chicago Simeon, the same school that turned out Derrick Rose, Nick Anderson, Jabari Parker. Not just a basketball school either. Simeon's had more players drafted in the Major League Baseball amateur draft than any other high school. Watkins on the run. Good head fake by Canada, and he nails it.
Nice job by Canada. Didn't really have control of the ball after the pass from the corner. Faked the three-pointer, one step by the man. 12-foot jump shot.
Well, Collins not afraid to shoot it, but yeah.
Speaking of not afraid to shoot it.
He got in a little too deep.
He may have gone a little too far.
Is that where you got in trouble?
Oh, yeah. Well, long before that, but yeah.
What a move by Toppin.
Toppin from right hand to left hand.
Oh, man.
So much. I mean, just 6'9", able to do that.
And once again, Thiero attacking. Damian Collins sends him to the floor. But let's talk about Toppin, though. And just the fact that you were talking to us this week about watching him in practice. His body looks different, but his game is different. His attitude is different.
There was Coach Calipari, I think, quoted at some point this week basically saying Toppin has lived in the gym. And it makes such a big difference. We go back to the last few years at Kentucky, and we kept hearing about the Breakfast Club when these guys would, on their own initiative, not being told they had to, not being told they needed to, but on their own initiative, they realized, you know what, if I want to go to the next level, if I want to be a star at this level, I got to do extra work. It isn't enough just to go in when the coaches say you got to come in. It's got to be player-led. It's got to be captain-led. It's got to be individually-led, where you're going to go in and on your own, grab a manager, make them come in with you, but get up 500 jump shots on your own. Let's sweat when we're not being asked to sweat.
John Calipari told us these guys are gassed, and you may have seen that right there on that free throw that almost didn't make the rim. Livingston on the move, changes to the left hand and draws the contact.
You're also starting to see, as we talked earlier, about the confidence in catch and release. They're not thinking, they're reacting. Now as that the fatigue sets in, it's not just the physical of missing shots short, it's the mental fatigue of all of a sudden they're not making the same decisions. That brain isn't clicking as much because that oxygen's struggling, so they're second-guessing themselves. As we just saw right there, we had an open shot, we delayed. Now we're at the line, fair enough, but nonetheless, we had an open three-point shot, and we thought about it too much instead of going up with it.
Calipari talked about that in practice this week. Do not delay. You know, make a move.
He called the ball a time bomb.
Yeah.
That ball's a time bomb.
Yeah,
And
you got to get rid of it.
You want it gone. As soon as you catch it, either shoot or go.
Livingston, now 3 for 4 from the line. Give him 9 points.
These freshmen, Wallace with 12, Livingston with 9, Thiero with 13, Reeves with 16. Seems like it's awfully quiet, 16 compared to what the other guys done.
Man.
However, that was not a quiet three. But again, you see the way he came across that screen?
Yes.
And he knew he was going up with it the moment he cleared it because he knew his man had been picked off.
Antonio Reeves also campaigning for minutes. He'll get him too, I believe.
I was going to say, after what we saw in the Bahamas, I'm not sure he has to campaign too much harder.
Not only that, he won the blue-white. He won the three-point contest in the blue-white competition at Madness. Canada with a loose ball.
Onyenso is causing so much problems for the white team down in that low paint. Again, just by being a presence.
Inside 50 seconds, Toppin finds Livingston. Onyenso with an emphatic rejection.
7'5" wingspan. Really just has to go up on his tiptoes sometimes.
Did he
to get
block
his hand.
that with his wrist?
Well, let's make a teaching moment out of it. He blocked it out of bounds. If we could make one correction, block it in bounds, keep the ball alive, get possession.
The late, great Bill Russell made a science of that, made an art of that.
I agree. It's so much more exciting to pound it out of bounds, but...
Wallace, just a pure stroke.
Yeah. I just want to repeat what I said at the opening of our broadcast. This is going to be a three-point shooting team.
Livingston went for the steal, see if the Blues can make a pay. Nope, White's come up with a loose ball.
Great bounce pass.
And Thiero there to bust it up.
And one thing Livingston does need to work on a little bit is his hands. He kind of turns it over a little bit easily.
What a way to end the half for Antonio Reeves. Toppin tries to match it, but he's way short. And it was a competitive, contentious, fun 20 minutes of basketball. They're going to take a break, and I've got to be honest with you folks. We think they're going to come back and play some more because we asked John Calipari during the break, and he said, we think we're going to play, but with a running clock because these guys are so exhausted. Quite frankly, Cameron, I think they just don't want to disappoint all these people that showed up.
You're exactly right. I feel like that, and I don't think they do. Right now, I don't know if this is going to be the break, but it's a photo opportunity at center court with both teams, the governor. So
they may be wrapping it up.
They may be. It kind of seems that way. So Cal may have decided.
Let's listen.
Please welcome head coach John Calipari and the team.
It's a check presentation, as you can see.
On behalf of our team and every wonderful fan around here in the arena, we would like to present the governor with this check for $162,450.
Wow.
I love the way the check's signed. Just a bunch of autographs by 14 to 15 guys that care more about others than they do themselves.
And the governor out there lending a helping hand and a standing ovation.
Let's give it up for this youth basketball team.
More than $162,000 raised. And as Cameron reminds us, this was player driven starting with the open practice.
Yeah.
Just the clothes on their back. But we are here tonight. This team is here tonight to make sure that every single individual who's harmed in that flood know you are not alone. I know that I'm joined by every single person here to say that we're going to be here every day, every week, every month, and every year it takes to fully rebuild every community and every life. And tonight is also a thank you. Yes, we lost 43 people, but thanks to the Kentucky National Guard, the best National Guard in the entire country. Thanks to our Kentucky State Police. Thanks to your local police, firefighters, Fish and Wildlife, and so many others. These amazing heroes made over 1,400 rescues in the first 48 hours alone. And the last thing I want to point out is that tonight was because of the decision of these Wildcats behind me. In Kentucky, we love our Wildcats, and tonight, these Wildcats showed us that they love you too.
Governor Andy Beshear sharing some of the numbers he shared with us early in the broadcast. More than 1,400 saves by the Kentucky National Guard, by the Kentucky State Police, who are here, I won't say in full force, but a lot of state troopers here tonight from the post here in Pikeville. A big night here at Appalachian Wireless Arena. So they were lining up. I thought it was to take a team picture and say goodbye, but it was to present the check.
Yeah.
So we may still see more basketball, and we apologize for being so effusive, but I don't think they know right now.
No, and it's the injuries. I mean, you mentioned it. They don't want to come down here and disappoint these people, but they are undermanned right now. I mean, a lot of the guys that are getting minutes weren't getting minutes in practice this week. I mean, they'd go through the drills, and then a lot of those guys would go, basically stand on the sidelines and watch what were the 10 guys that were probably going to get predominant minutes tonight, watch them play. But then Tshiebwe went down. They're being precautious with him, so they're keeping him out. Oscar was already out. Lance was already out. But even with those injuries, I mean, whether that was the first half or whether that's all we're going to see, there was a lot of competitiveness and a lot of guys. They completely unlike the BBN or the Big Blue Madness game, if you can call it a game. I mean, these guys competed. We saw a lot of what we saw in practice with guys going at each other. And though the defense could be improved, which I realize is ironic me saying that, but nonetheless, these guys are competing. And Oscar mentioned that when we interviewed him earlier, that's what's been going on in practice since before the Bahamas. These guys have been beating on each other, and he loved it. He loved watching it. I mean, they're out there competing to find out, who are going to be the 5, the 6, 7, 8 guys that are going to be part of this lineup. The reality is, man, there's so much talent on this team that it's not going to be maybe 5, 6, 7. I think Calipari does that sometimes. We're going to see 8, 9, 10. You see a lot of guys get some minutes because there are a lot of guys that can play.
You talked about the fatigue and how it was affecting them offensively.
Yeah.
And, of course, I would think, Cameron, you tell me, would it not affect you at first on defense? Because it's so fatiguing to play good defense.
No one wants to play defense. I mean, everybody wants to score, right? That's just your natural inclination as a player. That's the point of the game. So, yeah, defense, because, again, you're taught all the time, no matter where you are on the court on defense, be down in that athletic stance, right? Be burning those quads and be ready to move. So the first thing you do when you get tired is you stand up. And so now when your man moves without the ball, or maybe you're guarding one-on-one sometimes, I mean, I've seen myself do it on video from time to time, guarding the ball, standing up. The first thing you have to do is get down in a defensive stance. So you're already behind. So you're exactly right. It's the first thing that goes is you stop playing defense and aggressively, number one, and then eventually you stop playing altogether if you get tired. Typically, what could coach do? Come sit down by me. Get a blow, get a rest. Can't do that tonight. So if they come back and they play another half, and I think it's looking like they will, I think Cal maybe mentioned it's going to be a 20-minute running clock. Yeah. So look, we want these guys in game shape. We don't want them. And the other thing that happens when you get tired, you start to see injuries, right? And that is what happens. So we don't want that to happen either.
Well, and we talked about a lack of depth on this roster with Tshiebwe, Ware, and Wheeler out with minor injuries. That meant the white team, all 5 starters went 20 minutes. The blue team, 4 starters went 20. Walker Horn started the walk-on, played 8 minutes. Kareem Watkins came on, played 12 minutes. And by the way, one of the starters who played 20 for the Blues was Brennan Canada.
Yeah.
So getting a chance to get some clock and have some fun. And I asked you at the top of the broadcast about your first – we ended up talking about your first couple of white games.
I answered with my second blue-white game because my first one, I don't remember doing anything special except getting yelled at a lot.
But tell me about some of the guys who don't figure on playing many minutes this year and what it's like for them to get out there and really get up and down the floor more than a couple times. And when they get in mop-up time, they're told not to shoot. But here they are playing before nearly 6,000 fans.
Yeah, and wearing that uniform, too.
Yeah.
Think about Canada, Walker Horn. Walker started. Walker started as a freshman. Now, granted, we know why, but the reality is he was picked. Walker, you go out there and start. And then got not just minutes, because, again, when you've only got 5 guys out there, you're going to touch the ball. But he didn't look lost. Canada didn't look lost. The guys that maybe aren't going to get a lot of clock during the season, these minutes do matter because they are learning how to compete at that level.
Well, we talked about just about everybody because just about everybody made plays in that first half. Livingston, one of the freshmen, that young man, Onyenso. Thiero had a big half. That guy in particular, Antonio Reeves, just a smooth game.
Quiet game, though. That's what I can't get over, is I kept waiting for him to kind of explode, and I don't remember when it happened, but it happened.
It was really interesting when Onyenso began to really exert himself on really the defensive end of the floor.
I mean, he's somebody, again, reclassified. He's a lot younger. His body looks it, right? He looks long, lanky, and we know the length is going to help him block shots. But the athleticism, the strength is going to come as even this year goes on. And with his ability already to just be that big presence on the low post, he gives thought to those guys when they drive in the lane. They have to be thinking he's back there. So it's already he's in their head whether they want him to be or not.
You saw the three-pointer by C.J. Frederick. He was 3 of 4 from beyond the arc, 6 of 8 overall, 15 points. He and Kaysen Wallace tied for team high for the white team. And that young man, Damian Collins, came out. Wasn't hunting his shot, Cameron, but he wasn't afraid to shoot it.
No, not at all. I mean, and again, that's what you want, right? I mean, you want a guy to come out and not necessarily proactively be looking for the shot. That can get you in trouble. You want to be looking to score as a team, not as a player, and to have guys come out and say, you know what, I'm going to shoot when I'm open, because that's what Coach Cal's been telling them all week. Thiero, though, I mean, of all the players, Thiero probably the most unexpected he came out with 13 points, got 6 boards and 4 assists. I mean, don't know what the second half is going to look like here, but he's on cusp of possible triple-double.
Livingston took a shot right there, not the kind that you want to see hit for the basket, but no harm. We saw a cluster of Jacob Toppin shots, 3 for 7, missed his 2 3-point tries, 7 points, 6 rebounds, a couple of assists for Toppin. That's Kaysen Wallace. And you know what? We talked about the fact that the scrimmage in Madness kind of devolved into a dunk contest.
Yep.
Haven't seen many dunks tonight.
No.
That's because of the defense, though.
Yeah, partly defense. But, you know, the other part of it, let's look at this. The three-point shooting, not necessarily the percentage, though the blue percentage, the white percentage, they're shooting 42, 43% as a team. The blue team down with 33, but they both shot basically 15 shots. So they're on pace to shoot as a Kentucky team. If we were playing an opponent that wasn't Kentucky, we're on pace to shoot 33s tonight. That's not what we've seen. So if we're going to shoot 33s, we're going to have nights where we're going to shoot 30, it looks like, because these guys aren't afraid to put it up from the corner. They're not afraid to put it up from the perimeter. And just having the confidence, whether you make it or miss it, you are going to extend that defense when you've got the confidence to catch the ball, face up, and look and throw it up there.
Wildcats got a big night, as Cameron said, getting a big night from Thiero. 13 points. He did miss 3 of his 7 free throws, but 4 assists, 3 steals. We might point out that Thiero did foul out. He had 5 fouls, but of course, you're going to keep right on playing.
It's not going to matter tonight.
Nope. Kaysen Wallace had a good all-around line. 15 points, 5 assists, Cameron. 0 turns, 2 turnovers.
Yeah, and again, the freshmen, Livingston and Wallace, physically they've got the bodies, but again, there's going to be freshman mistakes. There's going to be a learning curve for them. Now, because of their physicalness, because of their confidence, because of their skill, it's not going to be, as bad as it could be. It's not going to be as bad as it would be for most freshmen, and we've, of course, seen that in the Cal era. These freshmen come in with an awful lot of talent and the ability to play ball and play with confidence, and a lot of times that's what causes turnovers. You just get out there in the middle and you're not sure what to do. You make an inerrant pass. You're not dribbling the ball the way as far as like keeping it away from the defense. You get lazy.
Here's what lies ahead for the Wildcats. As you can see, Madness and the blue-white game already in the books. Missouri Western, Kentucky State. Those are exhibition games. You'll see Kentucky State right here on SEC Plus. Then Howard, Duquesne, Michigan State, a tough challenge. South Carolina State, but of course Gonzaga on Sunday, November 20.
At Spokane.
Out in Spokane, that's right, North Florida. And Bellarmine with Scotty Davenport, those last 2 games here on SEC Plus.
I like the way the schedule works out, though, because we've got basically, no offense to any team on the schedule, but you look through the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first games, and you've got games that should be exhibitions in some sense, right? Not take anything away from those opponents, to work our way towards good competition, which is what makes you in April, in March, hopefully in April, it makes you ready to play. You're ready to play those big games. because we're going to play Michigan State, have another kind of exhibition game, and then we're going to Gonzaga. And I love the idea of going to Gonzaga, that home and home, being in that hostile environment where they are going to have their biggest crowd. They are going to be, again, we say it all the time, Kentucky's everybody's Super Bowl.
Really?
But, yeah, that's true. Are you doubting me? That's true. So, but to have that schedule work out the way where we've got time to get better and to improve, but then we're going to face some good opponents. And honestly, that's where you get, even if you lose those games, you get so much better in that in those tough environments.
You know, fans worry about those games on the road. Coaches obviously worry about those games on the road. And players like them, don't they?
Oh, well, number one, you get away from distraction. And when you get away from distraction, if I go back to when I played, we had a better record on the road than we did at home. Because at home, it wasn't Rupp Arena's fault. It wasn't the crowd's fault. It was that we would get distracted with tickets, right? Who's coming to the game?
Yeah.
We'd get distracted with the game before. The night before. We were at our hometown. We could go out. We could get ourselves in trouble, even if it wasn't legal trouble. We could go out when missed curfew. There's a lot of ways. When you're on the road, you can't do that. And when you're on the road, you also kind of have this consensus among yourselves as a team of, think about the Kansas game last year.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that video that the UK Sports Video made where you watch the Kentucky starting lineup walk out in Kansas and know, you almost felt like they knew what was getting ready to happen in that game. You almost knew they knew what was going to happen in that game because of the way they walked out. It was absolutely bedlam as far as those Kansas fans wanting to see Kansas blow Kentucky out, and Kentucky blew Kansas out because those guys took that on as a challenge. We are focused now because these fans hate us, and we're going to go at them. I think we're trying to decide here what we're going to do here in this second half. Did you get the word?
Deb Moore, I did. It's a 20-minute running clock, and I believe we are going to get John Calipari to join us, who just came out with T-shirts for the crowd, throwing them in the crowd. You might have seen it on screen. He reared back like he was going to throw it to the upper deck, and then he kind of winced ahead of time, like the thought of that would make his arm fall off. So he underhanded a few shirts.
He's had some injuries in his career here.
Well, he's had at least one hip replacement,
At least one.
It's
only possible he'd have another one, I guess.
Nobody has moved. Everybody's staying put here at Appalachian Wireless Arena. Dick Gabriel, Cameron Mills, the two-time NCAA champion, whose career began with a blue-white game. Every season in which he played at Kentucky began with a blue-white game.
Actually, sometimes we had more than one of those. We'd have a couple blue-white games.
See if they wipe off the score. Now, I think they're going to keep it, 52-48.
Well, they're not.
Let's see if they change the teams at all.
I was going to say that it doesn't look like they're doing that.
Yeah.
And again, that's just probably indicative of the fact that each team's got about 5 guys. So let's just keep it the way it is. And you also look on some level, even though they're all teammates, there's bragging rights on the board here. They want to get on that bus on the way home, and the blue team or the white team want to be talking trash the whole time. So it's going to happen. But these two guys we're looking at right here, we've got Onyenso and Thiero. Both. I didn't expect this out of either of them in this game.
Yeah,
all right. Onyenso yesterday during practice, he didn't look lost, but he didn't look like he was ready to play, and yet he's come out and dominated the paint so far, especially defensively.
Ghana Onyenso, 6'11", 225. He'll put on good weight at Kentucky, but he's not afraid of playing physical basketball right now, is he?
Yeah, no, he's not. And you know what? Look at those. He's got narrow shoulders. Those will get broader. Now, Cal players, we talk about it all the time. The fans complain about it all the time. They're here 1 year and they're gone. That's what makes this team different. We've got veterans that have stuck around. Regardless of the reason, we got great players that have stuck around. There's one standing in front of us right now, the consensus player of the year last year, who is still here and leader of this team. I mean, we've got so many mature players, physically, emotionally, mentally, and it's not just one. It's 3, 4, 5, and a lot of these guys are going to mature as the season rolls on.
That's Thiero with a basketball. Big first half and not afraid to get things started.
Thiero's acting, I mean, is he the superstar?
Playing like one. Wallace, that's Livingston. Now Toppin. And a good dish. But Collins can't put it down.
And that's Onyenso again. Causing the problems in the paint.
Reeves open for a moment. That's all it takes, but he misses.
That was a great, quick, though, pull-up. Came around that screen.
There's the dunk they've been looking for.
And let's make a prediction right now. We're going to see more dunks in this running clock second half, which, by the way, is not a 20-minute half. It's going to be a 10-minute half, it looks like. So just a few more minutes of gameplay. I think the defense is going to get so lazy. We're going to see a lot of dunks.
Well, not a bad idea by Ugana Onyenso. Again, trying to thread that needle.
I think it's the second time we've seen him try to throw that backdoor pass, and that came a lot in their offense. It's part of it.
Walker Horn to trigger. Frederick trying to make his life miserable. Brennan Canada hauls it in. Onyenso in the low post. Jump hook. Nice.
I'll say that Onyenso doesn't need to be pump faking right now. If he's going to throw the jump hook up there, he just needs to go up with it.
Give him 10. Once again, Collins.
Still like it.
Well, we keep hearing that the outside shot will be more of his game this year. How often they'll need it, I don't know.
But see, the thing is I mean, they need it. I mean, that's what a team is. You need guys to be able to stretch that defense and be able to put the shot up and make the shot. And there are a lot of guys that can do it. It's not just Collins. Toppin can do it. We heard about Oscar improving his outside shot during the offseason. And this guy with the ball right here, he can certainly shoot from the outside.
Reeves versus Wallace. Nice job defensively for Kaysen. Thiero working on Livingston.
Wow.
How did he get that off?
How did he get it in? I mean, getting it off, sometimes you just throw it up there, but to get it in, nice soft touch. Look, we see those backdoor cuts. How many times we've seen 2 right now in this play by the white team? A lot of backdoor.
Reeves with a steal. Wallace with the collision.
And intentionally drew that foul right there. I mean, that was obvious. He saw his defender, he turned him, and then went right at his body. There's no way he's going to be in position. Watch this replay. No way he's in position. That Wallace that time. No way Wallace would have been in position to draw a charge. So Reeves just went right into his body, knowing he was going to get the foul called. Again, that's veteran play. That's what you learn the longer you play this game.
Tied at 54. Blues coming back. They were down by 9 early in the game. Thiero in some trouble now, finds Reeves.
Let's see, again, we thought things we saw in practice, those drives would go immediately down to the corner, right? There'd be open shooters in the corner.
1 second to shoot.
Okay.
Well, they never fired the clock.
And still haven't.
Nope. And a Euro step for Livingston gets the bucket.
Can I spend 30 minutes complaining about the Euro step?
How about on the way home?
All right, that's fair.
Timeout on the floor, and it is 54-54. Did they call game over?
I think Orlando Antigua is wanting game over.
I believe they said game over.
I mean,
so for now, we'll step out and take a look once again at what it's all about, and that is flood relief for Eastern Kentucky.
Hello, my name is Wallace. I volunteer with the American Red Cross. Love you too. That was good.
CJ came to us and he told us like we need to do something about this, so we came together and we went to coach and we talked about what we can do to help benefit Eastern Kentucky, and we actually came up with this idea to have this open practice here, and look at all the amazing fans that came to support. We definitely to thank them a lot for coming to support. It shows how special BBN is, how special this state is to come together and help Eastern Kentucky. So we're excited for this. We're excited to raise money to help Eastern Kentucky.
Dick Gabriel, Cameron Mills, blue-white action, and it's become a game, 56-54, and we are told now they are putting, first it was 7 minutes back on the clock.
now 7:31.
It's kind of random.
It's kind of how the whole night has gone. It just seems we're making it up as we go along.
Nobody's complaining.
No, and the bottom line is these guys are getting run. I mean, they're getting, and again, good run. I mentioned this earlier. Cal is a way in practice of if he doesn't like what he sees. All coaches are like this, but he'll blow the whistle immediately as he sees something. He won't let them play through it, and then as they play through it, and it's kind of a dead ball. Now he's going to correct. He'll stop them right in the moment and correct it immediately, and so they don't necessarily get that flow to the offense, but they're getting that today. And again, this is what the exhibitions, the blue whites, are about, and eventually that'll start going away as they learn. Remember, we are early in the season. Eventually, they're going to get to the point where they're running 5-on-5, and they know where they're supposed to be. They understand the mistakes that they could make and aren't going to make, and they're not going to need Cal correcting as much. It's going to be more about who we're playing and who they're scouting for.
So we'll see how this blue-white scrimmage ends up here with the Blues battling.
Fatigue.
Against battling not just fatigue. But the Whites, who I think, Cameron, if they started, this would probably be the starting lineup, but with Oscar in there eventually.
I would think.
Yeah. So, you wonder who would start out on the bench. Maybe Collins, but he's making a bid for minutes.
Reeves' ball handling is so good, so quick.
And it'll be Walker Horn, the walk-on. From Austin by way of Covington Catholic High School, and Chris Livingston with a shove. Obviously not really paying too much attention to how many fouls people have.
Not paying any attention.
Nope. Antonio Reeves. Wallace trying to check him. There's Onyenso trying to help out. Yep. Now 10 to shoot. They double him again.
I like
Thiero. The defense by Livingston, and still he finds the net.
Thiero's having a breakout game. Blue-white, regardless.
We got to ask John Calipari after the game about Thiero, because the word on him when he got there to Lexington was he's still growing.
Livingston at that time hesitated. You saw him caught the ball, stared his man down, thought about it, didn't, thought again and shot it, but it wasn't in rhythm.
Onyenso inside.
Great pass.
Trying to thread the needle again.
Well, and again, passed up some open shots on this possession, the blue team did. They had open shots in the corner by Horn. He went into Onyenso. He could have made a move. He went back door, and then we see another backdoor attempt.
Whites will try to retake the lead through the hands of Frederick. Now the Blues can take the lead.
It's starting to get sloppy.
CJ coming off that surgery on his left hamstring. One of the top three-point shooters in the country when he arrived in Lexington. And before he was injured last year, he won the three-point contest at Madness. Reeves again, the kick out to Thiero, good pass. Toppin up for the rebound. Cherry picking Livingston, and he just can't haul it in.
I mean, it didn't bounce up right to him, but at that point, you're the only one down on the court. Toppin made a great pass because he saw him and forwarded the ball. You got to go down and get it before you go up with it. That turnover was probably going to be attributed to Toppin, but Livingston should have waited on that and made sure he got it before he went up with the ball.
Boy, Canada wanted that shot.
Should have taken it.
Onyenso again the turnaround. That time Collins affected his shot. Look at Toppin handling the basketball. And the defense by
Onyenso.
Ugo.
he's a menace.
It all worked out for the white team, thanks to C.J. Frederick.
You were saying it. I loved watching Toppin. I mean, he went coast to coast on that and even went inside out and got a defender off of him, and then Onyenso's back there.
And look who answers for the blue. Antonio Reeves.
That was, again, on one-on-one, too. Backed his man off him with a crossover, backed up, nailed the three. That's just athleticism and maturity, knowing how to do that.
Collins.
How
much better is his form?
Does not even think about it.
Yeah.
And that's the key. You're right. Form has a lot to do with it, but he's not second guessing. He's not questioning, am I going to get in trouble if I shoot this? I think Cal's got it drilled into him, as all these guys is, I'm going to get in trouble if I don't shoot this.
Collins definitely showing he can do more than dunk. 2-point lead for the white. Defense by Collins.
The officials letting him.
And there's Livingston in there scrapping.
The officials are getting a little fatigued here, too.
Short on the layup, and now the Blues with a chance to tie it up. There's the dunk he's been looking for. And the foul on Livingston. Timeout on the floor. Got a good one, 61-61. It looked like early the white team was going to blow out the blue team, and this thing might have turned into a dunk-a-thon, but it's a ball game.
It is. I'm not sure, and I expected it to. Look, you can see the guy. I mean, C.J. Frederick over there. See Toppin in the huddle. I mean, these guys are gassed. They are. So the good news is this. They've come down here, and it's not necessarily been an exhibition. We've talked about that it's not been similar to the Big Blue Madness scrimmage. These guys have gotten a practice in. So let's think about all the good things that have come from this. These guys have done a lot, raised $162,000 for the victims of the floods in the spring, gotten a good workout, done some goodwill, and not even done. And I love the conversations that we've had with Severe, with Oscar, Cal even coming over and talking about it with the microphone to the crowd, that after the game we are going to sit and we are going to sign as many autographs as we can, putting a little boundary up there, saying we're not going to be able to get to all of you, but we're going to do everything we can. And as Severe said when we were interviewing him, that's what matters. I mean, it's more than a text, it's more than a check, it's shaking a hand, it's giving a hug, it's being there and letting a fan meet you or get their picture taken with you, even more than an autograph.
White team 25 of 49, 51% for the game. Blues 22 of 45, 48.9% for the game. But here in the second half, the Blues 6 out of 12, the Whites 4 out of 9, which is why the Blues have roared back from 10 points down, really, toward the end of the first half to make it a ball game. And the Blues actually had a slight lead early, but it was, for the most part, the Whites taking over down the stretch.
Well,
in the first half, the Blues here in the second half taking advantage of the fatigue.
We've talked about the surprise of Thiero. He's also got 10 rebounds, by the way, 5 assists. But Frederick's 4 or 5 from the three-point line. I mean, this is what we wanted him for. This is what he was supposed to do, and he's doing it. He's got 18 points in this game. Antonio Reeves, of course, leading all with 25.
Frederick had a slight ankle injury a couple of weeks ago. But talking with him after practice this week, he said, I feel as good as I've felt in a long time. That'll make Kentucky fans feel good. Case and Wallace. That's Frederick. Wallace looks for a target. That's Toppin. Finds a lane.
Like it. Now see, that time again, Onyenso was down there, but Toppin basically stared him in the eye and knew, kind of telepathically said, I'm going up, are you going up with me? For some reason, Onyenso stayed on the ground.
And a 2-point lead again for the white team inside 3.5.
Oh, we had him.
Livingston loses the rebound to Thiero on the spot.
Thiero in the right
63.
Thiero in the right place at the right time.
Toppin tried to draw the defense again. Good idea on the dish, but threw it away.
All right, so we're tied 63-63, last 3 minutes of the game, right? So this is when fatigue can hurt either team, so who's going to bust through it?
Well, Ugo did it that time.
Well, that was even, the ball was inbounded. The guys were just kind of walking around. I don't think they knew the ball had been inbounded. All of a sudden, Uganda busted down the floor and got the pass.
And the blue team with a lead inside 2 minutes and 50 seconds. That's Collins. Cut off by Onyenso.
Ready to help!
Livingston from 3. Collins on the rebound. The block by Onyenso.
That's 6 blocks for him.
Good hit fake by Frederick. Shot off the dribble.
Oh.
Man, that would have been nice, but Wallace misses the follow. Reeves on the move. Tough shot.
All right, again, 2:19. 2-point game. Who's going to be the star? Who wants the ball in their hands? Who's going to make the big plays?
I got to think that young man welcomes the opportunity. But Toppin off to Wallace. Off balance. And a big rebound for Canada. Reeves gets loose. He'll shoot 2.
And that is maturity over freshman right there. As Livingston had his back to the ball, was pursuing down on defense, eye contact full length of the court, and Reeves was found.
Antonio Reeves. Averaged 12 points a game as a junior at Illinois State after kind of a slow start at ISU. Was 13th in the conference as a junior, led the league in scoring the following year. Was the first Illinois State player to average more than 20 points since 2001. So now a 4-point lead for the Blues. This would be an upset, Mr. Mills.
Would it?
Well,
it's based on the assumption of who probably is going to get the start first game.
And with all due respect, with the walk-ons who have been playing for the Blues. Collins. There's Thiero. Coming up on 1:30. 4-point lead. 15 to shoot. Watkins is checked in. Down the lane he goes.
Off balance.
Frederick on the rebound. Wallace trying to make something happen quickly. Livingston.
White needed that quick bucket. 2-point game.
You work the clock here, get what you can.
You get what you can. I mean, you go at it.
Thiero had that idea, knocked out of bounds, and he lost it. Ooh. Great defense by Livingston. Right here in front of us. Inside a minute. The white team will try to tie it up or take the lead.
If it's a tie game with 0-0, we go overtime?
I'm guessing
Cal lets him go overtime. Maybe sudden death.
I bet he calls it a tie.
Golden goal.
Frederick the fade. Rescued by Collins.
Big rebound by Collins and
Toppin.
Big 3.
And a triple by Toppin gives the White a 1-point lead coming up on 30 seconds. Wallace marking Reeves. Collins out to help, gets loose. Had a good look.
Oh, Thiero almost had that big save, big steal.
Livingston with the exclamation mark. Still time though. 3-point game. And a timeout. And now Calipari wants to
interjects himself.
Well, he wants to run a play. He wants to run a set. This will be interesting.
What do you say?
Let's see what happens. He said a 96-year-old veteran said we're not setting enough screens. Calipari once again thanking the crowd, recognizing his team, giving his assistant coaches, Orlando Antigwich and Coleman, the chance to set the offense, set the defense.
See what Orlando Antigua comes up here with 18.4 seconds left. Team down by 3.
And what's Jen Coleman telling the defenders?
Don't foul. Well, or is this the position though, right? You get that quick foul before the 3 is allowed.
Yeah.
Right? And then get the possession back.
I would. 18 seconds left.
But if you've got a smart veteran, as Blue does in Reeves, if he knows that foul's coming, he's throwing that shot up. That's probably the most dangerous, tricky, yin-yang situation there is in basketball. It's not block charge. It's that. Do you foul coming out of here? If you're white team, are you fouling immediately, putting them to the line, letting them cut it to 1, but then you got the ball back?
Thiero.
Now, it's over and back right there, too. White team's going to play. Let them play.
10 seconds. They don't fall for the head fake. Thiero, he's in jail right now.
Yep, and lost out of bounds. Now, you talk about what Coach Cal said about the veterans saying they need to set more screens. Not a screen set down here on that possession. Not one screen. And yet, a lot of one-on-one basketball.
I don't know if you saw that on camera, but Orlando Antigua was channeling his inner globetrotter.
Probably should hope no one saw that on the camera.
Probably not.
It was a little.
Well, there is 0.9 seconds left, and it looks like
I think it's a
it
game.
looks like this is over.
I think we're calling it.
Yeah.
So
that would be 70-67 white.
Yep.
On the strength of the Jacob Toppin 3-pointer.
Not a true 40-minute game, though, by the way, in case we were worried about the final outcome or the scoring totals. I do like the fact that, they played a lot. I mean, there was not a lot of interjection. Cal then stopping right there at the end just to kind of say thanks to the crowd, talk about what he's got in this team and what he, admitting, say, we've got a lot to do. And we talked about it earlier, saying there wasn't a lot of defense, but it wasn't because of lack of effort. These guys were playing hard, and that's what was fun to watch, is to see what you and I got to see in practice, and yet these guys came out here and did the same thing in a game.
Didn't get to see Xavier Wheeler play tonight, but we'll see a lot of him this year. Let's hear a little bit more from the leading point guard. And, by the way, when we come back, John Calipari will join us, so stay tuned. But let's listen to Xavier.
I'm Xavier Wheeler, and I play for the love of the game. My first memories of basketball probably go back to when we was living in New York, with my dad and watching play in the parks. My dad and my mom, they met at Rucker Park. So I had to be a baller. I had to be a point guard. Like, from New York City, and your parents meet at Rucker Park. Like, you gotta be nice. You gotta be nice with it. That they were my motivation. They were someone who were with me, throughout the whole journey. Obviously, I have built a lot of relationships, built a lot of friends. But at the end of the day, it's really them too who kind of drive me on my journey. When Hurricane Harvey hit, it was like one of the most devastating hurricanes to come through Texas or even the country. Got 5 or 6 feet of water in my house. And my family relocated to College Station, but I would still commute an hour and a half every single day to high school. So I would wake up and drive an hour and a half to get to school by 8:30 or 9, work out, lift, practice, then drive an hour and a half back every single day for like my junior and my senior year of high school. So that's definitely one of the biggest sacrifices that just come to mind. I love the fans. I love to compete. Like, I've always been a guy who wants to be the best at everything. Even with my siblings, who can eat the fastest, who has the best handwriting, who has the best grades. The environment, this place breathes basketball, and that's motivating to know that you're set at a high standard. Like, I wouldn't want it any other way, I know what all comes with it, the highs, the lows, but I'm a kid that was always gonna strive for, excellence in everything I do, so why not? Something I love the most. I play the most, I enjoy being around the most. Why not have that expectation set high? And that's here at Kentucky.
Welcome back to Pikeville. We're joined now by John Calipari. First of all, congratulations on all of this, but you've talked to the crowd 2 or 3 times tonight. What do you make of all this?
Well, it's funny. Wherever we take this program and this team, this summer I went around with some guys signing. People were in line 5 hours, thousands. And now you come here and it's sold out. And this wasn't a free game. They had to pay to get in. I mean, literally sold out in an hour. And there were downstairs tickets they were selling for $250. What?
Are you
serious?
serious?
This is a scrimmage that we cut short.
Yeah.
And I think everybody left knowing that money went directly back to the relief fund. And so for our kids, though, to say, Coach, how can we help? They saw the images. What do we do? Can we do an open practice? How can we do it? The fundraising, it was $4 million. And then this, they say, let's play a game out there. We went to the park today and gave out all kind of stuff to people. So
Jenny Wiley.
Yeah. And now they go tomorrow. We have the Mambacita clinic for kids in the morning at 1 o'clock, and then we have our women's clinic.
Right.
And they're gonna do stations this year. I mean, this is an unbelievable group. And I would tell every woman coming to the clinic, it'll be a little different. It's going to be fun as always. We'll end up having 500 women come, which is, just makes it what it is. But this event, I'm worried. Well, I shouldn't worry. We don't have Oscar Tshiebwe and even Lance. And we look pretty good offensively at times, but defensively we got a lot of work to do. Pick and roll defense. And
what did you get out of? I mean, obviously this, but what did you as a head coach get out of this tonight?
I needed to see some guys that would play loose, and we still, I said to Chris, Chris, you care too much. He's a terrific player, but he wants to do well so bad you can't. Now you start fumbling balls, you miss rebounds, you get, and I've seen it before. And the greatest thing, he still had to play the last 4 minutes. There was no place to hide.
No, right.
Now you got to go.
He's not going to the bench.
No, I mean, so it was good for that to see Antonio do what we saw him do down in Bahamas.
Absolutely.
How about CJ? Woo, okay? What I've told everybody. And my thing to him was, you can't press when you haven't played for a year and a half. It will take time. And today was a little bit of a breakthrough, I thought, the way he shot the ball when he plays. He was making them pass. We held the ball too much. You're seeing, just move the ball. We're fine. We're all touching it. So you're talking about a veteran guy. I thought Ugana was good. I thought Adu was good. Adu, come on now. I mean, here's
7-8 blocks?
Yeah, I mean,
he's trying to force you to play.
Ugana, right. Thiero. But
Adu's trying to force you to play him.
Right, exactly. He's saying, look, who played better than me?
That's right.
And it's good. Now we got to get in practice. You got to do it. But I'll say this. They're all going to get a chance to play.
Oh, yeah.
So now when you get your opportunity, you do what Adu did. Play me. Why are you not playing me?
Yeah.
So I was happy. I mean, again, the fans and these kids and seeing them signing autographs. And I wish I could do 5 or 6 of these. Go different parts of the state.
That'd be nice.
And maybe we should do one for West Kentucky. And I said, we haven't forgotten about them. I talked to the coach down there. He saw my post, and he hit me, and he said, we know you haven't forgotten about us. The players are asking every day about you. Mickey Blue. So,
nice.
But no, this is a good thing. But you think about it. The kids left 10 o'clock this morning. They're going to get back 11. That's a long day for a bunch of college kids.
Yeah.
And we got 2 clinics tomorrow.
Who are giving a lot of their time right now just around here signing autographs. I mean, after a hard scrimmage, they're out there now signing autographs. Severe joined us, and that's what he was talking about. Yeah, you can send a text, you can send a tweet, but let's go down there and basically press the flesh.
Yes.
And just to hear him articulate that and then go out there and do it, it makes this group just seem much more mature.
And to be able to say 162,000.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, and basically that means every dime that came in here, other than what we had to pay for the building, goes right to that fund.
John, I'll leave you with this. One thing that we noticed in practice, and you could see it tonight, is, and you can't fake what you guys are doing here tonight. Your kids, it looks like, really enjoy being together, being a part of something special. How does that affect your job?
Well, the thing I told him yesterday, I said, I haven't had to raise my voice. I don't cuss anyway, but I haven't had to, and they looked. I said, oh, I know. You think when the game starts. And I will. I'm Italian. I get a little bit of
Me too.
But here's what I would say. I've had teams that have had no bad practices for a season. I've had 4 or 5 of them. Well, this team hadn't had a bad practice yet. And those are the teams, you can imagine who those 5 were.
Yeah.
And that means they're coaching each other, they're holding each other accountable. Severe came out of a huddle yesterday and told one of the guys,
we saw it, yep.
We don't do that here. And I never said a word. I let him come back in. They challenge each other. They were challenging Oscar one day, and it was a closeout drill where he was on defense, and we were throwing the ball to a man who was running at him. He had to stop him. You got to get 3 stops to get off the floor.
Yeah.
He couldn't stop, and they're talking, player of the year, yeah, how about this? And now his jaw starts going, so he gets the 2 stops. And I said, all right, next man. And they all said, no, he has to stop. And they were, but when he did stop them, Lance, Jacob, I think it was a dude went over and hugged him. Like, that's how this is supposed to work.
Yep.
And you know what? This doesn't guarantee greatness. The other guarantees failure, though.
That's true. Yeah.
And so this is, you're trying to teach them to be good teammates. You know how you're a good teammate? You got a kind heart.
Yep.
You got a kind heart. You understand how to create joy in your life by doing something for somebody else. And that means when everybody on the team treats everybody that way, yet hold people accountable for what their job is. Now all of a sudden, it's an empowered team that I talk about every year that cares about one another. Now, we got the toughest schedule in the country. We're playing everybody. There are no, cupcakes. Even, like, I got people saying, why'd you play Yale? Like, Yale is really good. Why would you play the teams you could play? You open up with Howard? Wait a minute. They're good,
Yep.
So all the teams that we know, this team, that team, these other teams are good.
They'll test you.
Oh, no question. There are
Yeah.
no easy ones. But we're at Kentucky. We're expected to play everybody and have a chance in recruiting and every year be in the hunt for a national title. And that's what our job is. That's what my job is.
John, thanks so much. Congratulations.
Appreciate
on
it.
a
You
great
guys,
night.
you be safe going back.
Thank you.
Too.
Same to you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
John. John Calipari, obviously the head coach of the Wildcats. Those are your stats. And we want to thank everybody who helped us here tonight in Pikeville. Thanks to this crowd. Thanks to Kayla, our great stage manager, Will, our producer. We had a ball down here.
It was fun. It was fun. Blue Whites are always fun. Players went at it, though, and it was fun to see them in that non-Big Blue Madness atmosphere and really go at it and see what we've got this year, especially for these fans. And let's, as we've said over and over again, remember why we were here in the first place, and that's because these players wanted to come do something special for this area of Kentucky.
And they did. And the Whites win it 70-67. For Cameron Mills, I'm Dick Gabriel. Thanks for joining us here on SEC Plus. That's it. Good night from Pikeville.